Most IT projects don't fail because of the technology. They don't, right? The technology has a purpose. They fail because didn't have the right people with the right culture, the right mindset, didn't have the process to understand what we were doing with that technology. And the technology part always comes last. And sometimes when we get super excited, we always put the technology first. And we just got to go back to what we've learned.
Technology has transformed how we live, work, and connect. And behind that change are visionary people with bold ideas. Welcome to the Bridgecast, where host Scott Kinka explores hybrid work, AI, and our evolving future with tech's brightest minds. Presented by Bridgepointe Technologies, the nation's leading tech advisory firm. Experience a better way. The Bridgepointe way.
Welcome to another episode of the Bridgecast. This is another episode in our series that we recorded at the Bridgepointe Tech Summit in Miami, at the beautiful JW Turnberry. Have you enjoyed your time here?
It was fun. It's hot. A little humid. I'm from North Carolina, and it's even humid for me.
I love it. Well, this is Aaron Darcy, by the way, in case you didn't read that in the title of the episode already. Aaron is the Senior Vice President of Corporate Strategy and Go-to-Market for Lumen. Welcome to the show, Aaron.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And we had a session earlier today on the main stage.
We
at
did.
The summit. That was great.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. How's it been last couple of days here?
Awesome. Love meeting the team. My first time here.
Yeah.
So you guys are great partners of ours for sure. And it's just great getting to know how our culture is such a great fit, as well as how some of the needs both you have and we have for the business to grow. I just love that we have that relationship.
Yeah, it's amazing.
As partners. Yeah.
Super thrilled. Well, telling a little bit about you.
Yeah.
I'll give a little bit of your background. Don't blush.
Yeah.
Wealth of experience, obviously. You've been in Microsoft, GE Digital. Now you're at Lumen. We're going to explore that a little bit. And at Lumen, you are driving the future of AI-driven connectivity and cloud solutions. Seems like AI wrote that, right? And
Probably. Take the team effort, because if it was just me doing it, it wouldn't happen.
I love it. Ensuring that businesses can scale and innovate as the AI economy continues to scale. We're super happy to have you here.
Yeah.
Let's just start. I always like to start these episodes just getting to know you a little bit better.
Sure.
And maybe with a little bit more detail than we had time to get into on the main stage today.
Yeah.
Just walk us through that career progression that landed you at Lumen.
Yeah, for sure. I'm super fortunate. I've had some long-standing relationships with some of the Lumen executives. So in some cases, this is multiple companies that we've been at together as well. And what I would say the common thread is transformation. I feel like I'm a builder at heart. I've been in big companies. I've been in small companies. I've been in the startups within a big company as well, if you can imagine that.
Yeah.
And so anytime we've got to build and scale, I kind of feel like that's me. I was doing a speaking engagement with one of our teams, and one of the questions were, if you had to create a tagline for your product launch, what would it be? And I'm like, this is great. So I asked AI.
Yeah.
And the one I chose was, which I love, was like, built for scale, wired for impact. Like, I just feel like that's just such a great phrase.
Built for scale.
Built for scale, wired for impact. Yeah.
Let's explore that a little bit.
Yeah.
I took one question off script. I love it. Okay.
Awesome.
So, you said you've kind of followed some executives around. You're a transformation agent at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I think your title indicates that.
Yeah.
We'll get back to what that means in Lumen in a minute. And let's just give some advice, because I think CIOs come into businesses at various stages of the business's scale.
Yeah.
And many of them are there to stand it up and keep the lights on, and others are there for digital transformation at some later point. But give us the best advice that you have, one thing perhaps that's around, like, if you're dealing with a giant digital transformation inside of a business.
Yeah.
Some words of wisdom they can poster on the wall.
Yeah. I think even for CIOs today, with what's going on with AI and cloud and multi-cloud and, just really the explosive growth in technology and certainly networking and data, like, you really can't be an operator. And you have to think about transformation. So if you're not comfortable with that, you've probably got to surround yourself with people that are. Because you're not going to get from where you are today to where you need to go without some type of transformation, transforming your process, things of that nature as well. And that's easy to say, but hard to do. And I've seen transformations fail because people don't focus on the fundamentals. And with AI, and one of the taglines we have at Lumen is AI needs data needs data centers, and data centers need networking, right? Yeah. That's essentially one of the values that we provide. And if that data isn't organized in an effective way, even with all these technologies out there, you're not going to get any benefits from AI whatsoever.
I love that conversation around kind of not being an operator. It's been thematic.
Yeah.
And you weren't on site for the open of the show.
I wasn't, no. Sorry.
That's all right. We'll get your recording.
Yeah.
But what we did, the theme of the show this year was the next wave.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we focused on, and I think it's maybe a little bit of a pertinent story we can riff on for our CIO listeners, is we talked about kind of the Gartner.
The hypercurve. I always look at the hypercurve.
So, and I explained it to our strategists, and we sort of equated exactly the story you were talking about, which is we splashed up this slide from Infotech, who's one of our research partners. And it was like the top 5 priorities for CIOs in 25.
Yeah.
And all of the items were in the wave, either on the top or slightly sloping down. And what I said was like, just because it eventually gets to this plateau of productivity out here.
Yeah. So it goes up peak of inflated expectations, trough of disillusionment.
Yep.
Right. And then a slope of enlightenment.
Yep.
And I don't know what the other, and then
you end on the plateau of productivity.
But I actually don't know right now with AI if we are in the peak of inflated expectations at the top or if we're already coming down.
And maybe it's agentics on the way up and generative is starting to come down. That was where I mapped it in my slide. Yeah. That didn't come from anybody. I just threw it on the curve. But the thing that was interesting about it was what we were saying was this: when you get out on the plateau, I think the thing to think about is that is generally uninteresting for the CIO because their job is all that is in that digital transformation leading that. But the flip side of it is how do you fund this side without optimizing this side? Right. And that's a lot of what our partners do. So I love your idea of like, don't operate it. And that could mean a lot of things. Lean on your staff. Yeah. It could also mean find the right partners. Yeah. And it probably means all of it.
Yeah. So one of the things that I've done pretty much every time I've learned it. So for 25 years now. So I was fortunate enough to work for a CIO. I thought for a long time in my career, in the beginning of my career, I wanted to be a CIO. Mm-hmm. So I worked for a U.S. investment bank in information technology, building Java applications, right? Yeah. And this is when nobody wanted to build Java applications, kind of like it is now. No one wants to build Java applications. And then it was before people kind of wanted to. Anyway, and it was a bank. And so I've been budgeting my team this way forever. And we had 2 categories: run the business, change the business. So I would encourage everyone, you got to have some run the business, operational, keep the lights on funds. You got to have that, right? Yeah, of course. But what are you investing to change the business? What does that look like? What do you do you actually have an experimentation fund? Mm-hmm. And I actually think that every leader, whether it's a CIO, if they think that way, then at least the bets that you're making and you can do it with confidence. You don't want to put everything in the change the business bucket because that's thrashing. That's not helpful, right? But you got to pick some bets. Yeah. Right. And just like with any bets, some are going to pan out, some won't. But you have to have the operational structure to kind of go do that. And you have to have the funding to go do that too. And I find personally that when we've deployed that structure with my teams for 20 plus years now, we always learn something. Right. And then what was a bet this year, right, becomes kind of a run the business item next year. Yeah.
Yeah. We called it help me.
Yep.
I got this. I'm not interested anymore.
Yeah.
Right. But the I'm not interested anymore isn't keeping the lights part of the business on.
Yeah. I think the hardest part too is that hype curve takes so long to play out.
It totally does.
So long.
But I think the feeling is it's happening faster now.
Yeah.
Perhaps around AI.
It's interesting. One of your questions, and you didn't ask it, which is totally okay. But then one of the questions was, hey, with the commoditization of AI, how, and I'm like, it's not commoditized yet. I feel like because of social media, we're just learning all of this stuff and seeing many more examples right in front of our face than we have maybe before for any other technology trend. But generally speaking, technology trends play out just like all trends. This one for sure will happen faster because it's AI and you've got more companies and just more money in general going into it. Because if you look at all where private investments are going through right now, where startup capital is going through, it's all AI,
of course.
right? That's like the category where that always hasn't been the case. And so I think you're seeing more and more of that, but we're just started.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we're just starting, and it kind of goes back to every single, like most IT projects don't fail because of the technology. They don't, right? The technology has a purpose. They fail because we didn't have the right people with the right culture, the right mindset, didn't have the process to understand what we were doing with that technology. And the technology part always comes last. And sometimes when we get super excited, we always put the technology first.
Yeah.
And we just got to go back to what we've learned, which is what we probably advise your CIOs all the time, is like, slow down. What business problems, what outcomes are we going after? What problems are we trying to solve? Right? Are your people in with it too? What is the process that has to change as a result? Which is why I poke on dirty data, because if you don't have dirty data, it's a process and you got to fix.
Yeah.
Right? Because AI is never gonna. No best AI tools that I've seen at least are gonna fix those. Right? And so, it's no different than any other transformation. It's just right in front of our face, and we're all using it too. This is what's different this time. We're all using it, and our kids are using it too.
Let's explore that a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I think, there's kind of two, we take the pantheon of big IT transformative projects, right? Whatever the, project du jour is, whatever's on the hill.
Yeah.
They kind of fall into two categories, and they're sort of infrastructure oriented projects, right? That certainly become transformative for the bottom line of the business maybe, but aren't end user affecting.
Yeah.
And then you've got the technologies that live over here that are kind of line of business end user affecting. And I find, and that's just maybe a little bit of a different mix on what you just said, but it's sort of the same thing. Like, if the project's going to fail on that end user side, it's generally not the technology's fault. It was a poor implementation. I think one of the questions I have for you as we move towards AI, and then obviously we'll tie this back to Lumen as the network powering AI, if you will.
Yeah.
But have we learned the lessons in the IT shop about being partners with the line of business the last couple of times we've screwed this up to be able to do it better this time?
I don't know. Here's what I do know.
Okay.
I know that line of business infrastructure, we were thinking that way 20, 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? 90% of IT projects are still failing. Roughly. Maybe it's 85. Whatever the number is, right? It's a high degree.
Yeah.
So chances are the old way of doing things isn't the right way to do things going forward. And so what I would encourage everybody is, even if you're in the infrastructure world, and we're in the infrastructure business, right?
Mm-hmm. Of course.
You got to tie it to a business outcome. If you don't tie it to some line of business outcome, not going to get funded, it's at the end of the day, so what? Who cares? So you got to tie it to a business outcome of some sort.
I think it's finding those that can sometimes be the problem.
Yeah.
Right. Like, if you're, it's kind of like asking your CIO to roll out the Salesforce automation tool. You're like, well, the technology part of that's really easy. We bought SaaS. We got to make sure you can authenticate to it. I want to make sure the data's clean. But the reality of it is the business kind of needs to roll it out. Like, so who's ultimately responsible? I feel like on the AI side, we're like, go get it, go get it, go get it, go get it.
Yeah.
And then meanwhile, they're off. Employees are off on their own trying to improve their job.
Yeah.
Doing it themselves. I mean, maybe we just need to go find the use cases there.
Yeah, I feel like people always got to figure out what problem they're trying to solve.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're just doing a CRM implementation for the sake of upgrading, what problems are you trying to solve as a result? Right. Yeah. I can tell you, we're going through one of those transformations in actually most of our backend system, because Lumen's Lumen today is not your mama's Lumen of tomorrow.
Okay.
Right. Newer brand, 5 years old, different companies, different brand names, mergers, Quest, Level 3, CenturyLink, et cetera, right? All kind of, and we didn't really spend the time and calories, energy to integrate all of that.
Okay.
So what's happening now is all of our leaders who feel like a vested interest to get that right, the business leaders are definitely involved in, and I give our IT leaders credit, because they're not actually working on large projects unless they got that level of engagement from the business to make sure that they're answering that question. So what, and who cares?
Yeah. Okay. So let's transition to the Lumen story on that. So what, who cares?
Yeah.
Right. How long have you been at Lumen now?
Yeah, 14 months.
14 months.
Yeah.
Okay. So you had a charter.
Yeah.
What was the charter? How's it going? What's come out of it so far?
Yeah. The charter was help us grow. It's that simple, right? And I feel like we're doing a great job of that. We're super clear on our strategy. And so, for us, we're deeply rooted in three things, right? So Number one, just making sure that we are continuing to invest in that physical infrastructure that many companies that we partner with and many of our customers know Lumen for, right? One of the best fiber backbones and metro networks out there, delivering what we call rapid route wavelengths with SLAs of 20 days or more for the connectivity that you need and where you want it. Partnering with data center providers, partnering with hyperscalers. We'll have 90% cloud on-ramps by the end of this year to all of those hyperscalers, Google, Microsoft, Amazon. So that core infrastructure, we continue to invest in, and you're there as well. I think what's changed, and people have known Lumen for that for quite some time, and that investment continues. 47 million miles of fiber that we'll have available in the U.S. alone. What's changed is this notion of how do we cloudify telco and have this digital platform, if you will, right? Network as a service to really bring a lot of the modern experiences for consuming technology, for consuming infrastructure to companies. Networking really hasn't been consumed that way, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you see the status in a portal of where things at, but you can't go up and down. You can't flex up and down, move connections from whatever. So we're providing all of that, right? All of the network services in a software platform called a Lumen Connect for all of them, and really building around this Lumen connectivity fabric. So number two is that digital platform. You got the physical, you got the digital, and probably what's really unique for us is no different than what happened is in the cloud spaces. The third pillar for us is we're looking to build that connected ecosystem with all of our partners, the meters of the world, folks like yourselves, because we can't do it alone. We know we can't do it alone. And we also know that our customers, our end customers, want solutions to solve their outcomes. And so sometimes that's just not infrastructure. That's infrastructure and a third-party partner that has technology that they want as well, whether it be Commvault or Meter or folks of that nature as well. So the strategy is super clear. And getting really back to your question, I think the challenge right now is how do we help everybody understand that three-pronged strategy?
Yep.
How do we help the company orient around to that strategy? And then how do we help our partners and our customers and bring them along that journey so that they can actually lean into the new Lumen as well? Because it's not your mama's Lumen.
Yeah. I mean, and most of the folks who are listening to this podcast who've been in tech for 10 years or more probably had some relationship with one of the brands.
Yeah, that's right.
Mentioned. Have now become part of Lumen.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a good experience. Maybe it wasn't. Ultimately, now these assets have all come together.
Or maybe it's just the company and Apple's severance.
Yeah. There's that too. But it is a different way of thinking about it. I mean, it occurs to me at the same time you're bringing these at one point disparate assets together to build them into a fabric that's
right,
meldable and easily able to morph into what the customer needs. This is all happening at the same time that like the logical construction of what we consider to be network is changed. Really, at the end of the day, so dramatically since the pandemic, and then the offices don't matter anymore. Now we have a million little offices, but then I think also importantly, and in particular with AI, it's also network proximity to services.
Yeah.
I mean, we would have never had that conversation back in the day. SaaS was a thing that rode over the network, not the thing that rode over the network.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. How does that change your thinking as a product leader?
Yeah.
In what you're trying to chase down for Lumen's network?
So we fundamentally believe that the networks of today were kind of architected for Cloud 1.0, right? Yeah. Really, to your point, there's this whole push of Cloud 2.0. So as a trend, even cloud is still relatively early, right?
Yeah.
10, 15 years, depending on who started when and what. And so those networks really haven't modernized. And so we're helping all of our customers modernize all of those networks to get ready for AI, right?
Got it.
You've got bandwidth bottlenecks and choke points. We live in a multi-cloud world, right? Chances are all the CIOs out there have multiple cloud vendors, not just the Googles and the Amazons and the Microsofts, but they have multiple SaaS providers.
Sure.
Right. They have multiple data center providers because even those hyperscalers live in those data centers as well, or they have their own technology in those data centers. And a lot of them still have some on-premise location too. And you want to manage all that fabric, if you will, in one unified way. And that's really what Lumen is delivering. And we want to make sure that in the future, you can design, price, and order the network that you need going forward, managing all of those endpoints. And then when you do need direct high-speed connections to those cloud on-ramps, we'll make those available to you as well. So that's really what's different now is I think the design of network, of kind of Cloud 1.0 from a network perspective, had all of these choke points and hairpins and bottlenecks. And, this fabric and mesh is what really customers need going forward. And that's really what we're building with Lumen Connect and the Lumen connectivity fabric and all the things that we're bringing to market.
Got it. That feels a lot like, as you're describing it, like the way that IT leaders have started to think about networking, really driven by the hyperscalers.
Yeah.
Right. Like it, and granted, there's the physical part of that network is not there.
Yeah.
Right, that you're talking about. But the point two is there. So
it's there with Lumen though. Just to be.
Yeah. Well, you know what I mean? Like, on the hyperscaler side, but you're accustomed to, I'm going to wire this up this way, but it felt very logical.
Yeah.
Very layer 3.
That's right.
4. Right? And it's amazing to think that we could get there, that the mission is to get there with the physical assets as well. It's kind of like, if I'm oversimplifying, take the locations that are unique to your business, headquarters, except, whatever, connect them onto your fabric. And the fabric's connected to the places you want to go. Right. I mean, dramatic oversimplification.
That's exactly the growth strategy for us from a product perspective.
Got it. How much of the Connect product is in place today?
Yeah, so we've got over 1,000 network as a service customers. That's the basis for that Lumen Connect product as well. A lot of brand names. That number continues to grow as well. And really what's driving that is the flexibility of the control that are in the end customer's hand to manage all of those endpoints and those network connections the way that they need them, to flex them up and flex them down, depending on those peak workloads that they want as well. And then also starting to leverage this notion of, security continues to be an important part in networking. And one of the unique differentiators that Lumen can provide is we can actually secure at that lowest level, at the network level, versus a lot of other security platforms. And we can feed, working with those providers, up all of the threats that happen in the application layer, in the data layer that maybe traverse on the network, but we can start to catch it right with our Black Lotus Labs solutions and things of that nature. Some of that threat intelligence and threat detection low, and kind of building that into that fabric as well.
Should IT leaders be expecting security to be built into the networks that they buy in the future?
I think so. I think if I was an IT leader, I'd expect two things: security to be baked in to the networking solutions that they have, and then also networking providers to work incredibly tightly and well with those security providers as well. So for us, that's really why we launched this notion of Lumen validated designs. And so so it's quite simple, really. And this is not a new idea. And so Cisco's had this for quite some time. Reference architectures have been around forever, right? But knowing how important some of these technologies are, that things work together cleanly, and we're not putting the integration burden on the customer or the partner. How do we come out of the box with a set of validated designs, architectures, if you will, where we know the topology works, the integration points work, the connectivity fabric works across those. So we've announced a handful of them as well. We're working with all the top security partners, the top storage providers as well, working with partners like Meter, partners like Commvault, making sure that when anything that's really, think of anything that's like high bandwidth or low latency and really throttles the network, how can we help our customers deploy those things in concert with each other so they're all moving in the right direction and they're all working in the same way, right? In a certified capacity, in a manner that's backed both by Lumen and that partner as well. And then it allows a little bit of a blueprint, right, that you can rinse and repeat for all the various locations, because let's face it, sometimes the challenge with networking is the way that you deploy and install something at one location might be different than another location. And sometimes you don't even control those locations fully. Data centers, hyperscalers, et cetera.
Sure. I mean, your point certainly about the reference architecture not being a new concept. Clearly. But that's typically on the hardware and software side, and not necessarily on the networking side. So don't sell yourself short.
I love it.
Like, I love that idea as we go. All right, we're going to end with some fun. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I love fun.
First one, shameless prediction. Can you give me one? Next 12 to 18 months. It doesn't matter. It doesn't even need to be in tech. It'll be sports related. Just give me something we can look back at.
Indiana will continue to be a football school. Currently, when we're recording this, number 2 in the nation. I'm an Indiana Hoosier. I'm a IU alum, and we're going to continue to be a football school.
Okay. That hurts me. I think I said that to you earlier. I sent 2 kids to Penn State. So good for you. Amazing. All right. Second one. This is maybe a little bit more tech. Give me a contrarian opinion, a hot take around AI that you think others may not hold, but you feel strongly about.
I think if we were playing baseball and the AI was a game, 9 innings, I think we're taking batting practice. We haven't even started the game. I think we're in the early days of AI.
Okay. We love to recommend books on this podcast. So give us something you're reading.
Yeah. I'm a big Brene Brown fan. So Dare to Lead is a great book. She just came out with a new one as well. I think we all work in a people business and culture matters. We all read all these leadership books. What I will tell you why I chose that book personally is because I find that a lot of leadership books don't give you practical tools that you can apply. That book actually does. So Dare to Lead would be my book choice.
Do you think that business leadership books are kind of slept on by IT leaders? Like, they think that's the rest of the C-suite, but not them.
I'm going to go out and say that most IT leaders are a lot like me, which is that if they're going to spend time investing, a couple of hours or more reading a book, they want to make sure they get something out of it. And so 9 times out of 10, it's really, really hard to get like something punchy and practical that you can use for business books as well. It's actually one of the reasons why I like Dare to Lead, because it's super practical. It gives you tools that you could use and deploy.
All right. Here's the most fun question. All right. We've been doing a lot of futurism talk here. In the future, that we're in some dystopian future. Make it whatever one you want. And only one app is.
Oh, you got to be a Star Wars themed one in my mind.
Okay, well, hey, we're all good. Whatever happens, you only have one app still functioning on your phone.
Oh,
which one would it be?
I mean, probably FaceTime. I'm an iPhone user. Okay. Only because I don't know where my wife and my family are going to be in that dystopian world. And I want to be able to see their face.
Perfect. That's an easy one. It's so funny how often that question devolves into like, well, what kind of future are we talking about? This is your future. I didn't tell you whether you're running from zombies or whether the aliens took over. You pick the one you want. Just tell us something quickly before we wrap about Lumen that maybe people that have done business with you or know who you are, that's maybe surprising, something they should be thinking about.
Yeah. I think we're still a company in transformation, right? I think those of us that have joined and have stayed at Lumen, we want to be part of the largest corporate turnaround in history. And that might not mean a thing to any of your leaders or listeners out there as well. But if you study business in 10 years from now, we want Lumen to be one of those Harvard business case studies.
HBR. And I love it.
To all those smart MBA students about how you take a company that was never integrated, didn't necessarily have a very cohesive strategy in how they're going to grow, and then the people and leaders in them, and turn that into around really a growth company that's a core part of the economy and the AI economy.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Aaron, I've been super impressed in my time with you. So if there's any indication, Lumen's heading in the direction you want. Thank you so much for your time. I am so appreciative of you spending your time with us here at Shell and also for this episode of the Bridgecast.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I love the pod. Love what you guys are doing as well. So thanks for having me.
Amazing. Fantastic. And thank you out there in TV land and listening to us in your car or on the treadmill. We are so thrilled that you could join us. We recognize that your time is very valuable. We're happy to have had some of it today. And we look to hear from you soon or see you soon on another episode of the Bridgecast. Listen, if you made it this far, there must have been some good content, or you're just a fan or a relative of mine. In either case, we appreciate you spending your most valuable asset with us, your time. We don't take that lightly. We'd also like to say one more time that we're appreciative of Bridgepointe Technologies and their belief and sponsorship of this show. We hope that if you or someone you know is thinking about your company's digital transformation, or simply the next IT project that you may not have the resources, budget, or time to get to, I'm sure that Bridgepointe, one of the country's fastest growing technology advisory and procurement firms, can help. Check out bridgepointetechnologies.com. Don't forget the E on Bridgepointe, or simply reach out to me at Skinka, SKINKA, at bpt3.net. Also take a minute, please, if you would, to give us a 5-star review on your favorite platform. It helps give us the visibility to reach other people like you. Thanks for listening to this episode of The Bridge. I'm Scott Kinka, and until next time, there's a lot of noise out there in business and in life. Do what you can to be the signal. Thanks.